Well, it is Saturday, and we are here once again with Jammin with Jiao Shi. I'm Jiao Shi, and we are continuing on with 24 solar cycles, and we are still in Dashu. Dashu is the major heat period where the sunshine is the longest, the average temperature is the highest, and the rainfall is the greatest, and the thunderstorms are more frequent in some certain parts of northern China. And this is the most humid part of the year. And on the TikTok channel, I was talking about Sanfu Tian. Sanfu Tian is the three periods where it is the hottest and the most humid, and this is the third part of the 5 seasons of the ancient calendar. So we have Shaoshu, we have Dashu, and then we're going to be talking about the next phase or the first part of fall, which is going to start August 7th, which is Li Chu. And now, like the start of spring, it is the start of autumn on the ancient Chinese calendar because we use autumn as a different marker than the equinoxes in the Western calendar. So this is Li Chu, and we begin to now see the changes on the planet. And those three periods is called Sanfu Tian, and this is the golden period where you can have some great changes in your experience with the planet. So we have the minor heat, the major heat, and the start of autumn of those three periods. San, San is the number three in Chinese. Then Fu Tian is the time where the sky is now in position where we have the golden period. Now, gold is related to the color of the earth. So we have spring, which are the woods, and that's green. Then we have summer, which are the reds. And then we have the earth, which are the golds. And so that's why we have the golden period. We can have the greatest change in our bodies, and we take advantage of that at this time. So in late summer or the summer heat period, we have the ability to now feel the temperature as the hottest. So when we're looking at places like Orlando or New York or Shanghai or Abu Dhabi or Chicago or Montreal, we can see the varying temperatures of the highs, which are 96, 93, 95, 91, and 91 respectively. And today's high will be 91 in Orlando. But as we look at places like Chicago, or we look at places like Abu Dhabi, we can see how the varying temperatures you'll see over the planet. So Abu Dhabi is obviously very high temperature, 105, 115, 103, 109, and 103 respectively. But then look at Chicago. It's still pretty high over the last few weeks, which is 78, 91, 77, 84, and today's high in Chicago will be 83. So as we're feeling this period, then now we can take advantage of this period as we always do by knowing what our bodies are going to be responding to this time. And as the pores are open, as the body is circulating, we can take advantage of these solar cycles. And then now at night, we will see the temperatures cool down and be 76, 79, 76, 79, and 78 respectively at night here in Orlando. And around the world, and like Abu Dhabi, the night temperatures will be relatively cool. So 89, 91, 88, 91, and 92 respectively. So as you have the major heat period, it will be warm and you will be able to take advantage of the area of the planet that you're on and be able to get your body the healthiest. Because at this period, this is when we prepare the body for fall and winter types of disorders, where at that golden period, you can now get your body charged up and moving into a place where you're preparing for fall and winter. So we prepare every solar cycle, and every 2 weeks we're doing the small winds that make big winds, and we're moving steadily towards the calendar or through the calendar and getting ourselves ready for every 2 weeks or so. So here in the northern latitude of 29, 30, and 31st northern latitude, which is synonymous with southern China, and in the area of Florida, where we are here in Orlando, we can see that as we go through, we can see how it relates to our experience with the planet. So as we see, we can look at where we are in Orlando. North of us is DeLand, St. Petersburg, or Brunswick, or west of us is New Orleans, Houston. This is synonymous with Cairo, or this is synonymous with Wuhan, or Sichuan, or Punjab, or Ningbo. When we're experiencing these particular weather patterns and how the planet is positioned, it is now giving off certain types of radiation and certain types of energy where we can now plan and take benefit and get ourselves prepared for these solar cycles and expression. So this is why I like to do this every 2 weeks, because you can now see where you are. So if you're even north of us in the 35, 40, and 45 northern latitude, where you could be in Charlotte or Philadelphia or Minneapolis, or west of us, Albuquerque, Denver, or Portland, it's synonymous with Gibraltar or Madrid or Milan or Xi'an, China, which is central China, or Beijing. And Beijing is the northern part of China, but it's synonymous with Philadelphia here in the States. So as long as we're prepared for what our bodies are experiencing and we go step by step through the solar cycles, and we're in the period of the major heat, then now as the end in about 3 days of the major heat period, we will start the start of autumn, and we're still in that Goldilocks zone, that golden zone of the San Fu Tian, where we can still get benefit and get nourishment from these solar patterns. So if you're doing this and you look at the TikTok channel as I talk in depth about San Fu Tian and a little bit about the solar cycle, so you can go back and forth and go a little bit in depth. So when you're talking about these different things, always take advantage of your particular environment. And as we get ready to close out the summer period and the late summer period, we'll get prepared for fall and the fall 6 of the solar cycles. Now, one part of fall is a part of that San Fu Tian period, which is the late summer period. And then we go into limit heat or white dew or autumnal equinox, where the west acknowledges fall. And then we start feeling the cold dew or the frost descent or different aspects of nature's expression in the northern hemisphere. So as we begin to experience these different things, we can move forward into each of the solar cycles prepared for that energetic expression, and then we adjust and harmonize accordingly to our particular needs. So, how do we do it? When we're talking about the yin yang, we're talking about the nutritional aspects, then I always like to use fruit as a way to change the body subtly because everybody can do fruit. And whether if you're a yang body type or if you are a yin body type, you can now get benefit by taking this internally and utilizing the Chinese food therapy principles, and you will be able to get some benefit. So, this week we're going to start as of preparing to go out of Da Shu into Li Chu. We are going to now, if you're a yang body type, we're going to be looking at star fruit. But if you are a yin body type, we're going to be looking at acorn squash. So we have the different fruits that we're going to be experiencing over time. And then each of those, like loquat or olives or pomelo or apples or bananas, in the yang category, we'll go over each of the every 2 weeks. Or if in the yin category, we have bell pepper, adzuki beans, grapes, pumpkin, or pineapple. So if we move forward into star fruit and look at our yang types, remember, we're moving out of the hottest period. So out of the hottest period, we still have significant amount of heat and heat expression from the planet. So then now this star fruit, we can see that clears heat, promotes the secretion of saliva, so that will help with thirst, induces diuresis, which means that it will help clear out toxins by the urinary bladder and the kidney function. And that's why we say it removes toxicity. So as we see that the star fruit for the yang types can support your function to clear any excess heat that you may have experienced through this solar cycle period, help you with any symptoms of thirst or any type of water retention, because remember, as you're experiencing the heat, your body wants to rise the heat. The heat rises and then it goes outward. And if you're perspiring a lot, then everything's moving upward and outward. But that means that things in the lower parts of the body, like the kidneys, the bladder, are now can have fluid trapped in the system because it's not descending properly. So this is why with star fruit, it can now help you descend it properly and induce diuresis. Okay, so then that way that will help clear you out and remove any type of toxicity. So now that we have that for the yang type, we can move into the yin type and do acorn squash. Add that to our diet. And we have here the ability to regulate blood circulation. Now, why is that important? So everybody has a car, and we have in that car radiators. And that radiator now goes in and uses the radiator fluid to go around the engine block, take out the heat and circulate that excess heat. And then the radiator with ambient air will now cool in the fins that coolant, and then it keeps going round and round and round and keeping that engine at the proper operating temperature. Blood does the same in the human body. So when you're regulating the blood circulation, it can also help you maintain your internal core temperature of 102 degrees Fahrenheit. And then when it circulates, it should be at 98.6 when it gets up to the throat, or if it's in the folds of the armpits, it's at 97 0.6, and different areas of your body will have different varying temperatures, just like the radiator in your car. So then now also it clears damp. And at the humid time of the year, when we have humidity and dampness and wetness, we now can utilize acorn squash to now clear out that particular humidity. Now, dispersing cold. Now, why is that important in a time of heat? Well, sometimes when people get too hot, then the body goes through an equal and opposite reaction. And if you've ever had any type of heat stroke or you've been in the sun too long, the first thing that the body does is that it starts to heat up. Then you perspire, and then you perspire so much, you start getting the chills, and then your teeth start to chatter. So then now we want to make sure that we're regulating the blood properly and making sure that any cold that sets in that example, and or if you get too hot and then you go inside and you get under a vent of AC and you start to blast yourself with cold, then it can create a cold pattern in your body. So this is actually a very dangerous time because you're going from extreme temperatures, extreme heat to extreme cold in our air conditioning environments. And then you can now regulate the process with uh, acorn squash. Now, when you're going back and forth like that, your body, your mucosal glands can start to develop a reaction. And that's where you can now develop expectorant or phlegm. So with acorn squash, you now can eliminate phlegm, and the last one is expel cold, just like it disperses cold. So this is why for the yang type or the yin type, we look at how your body will now circulate and regulate and harmonize your body during these periods of transition of the Xiaoshu, Dashu, and now we're going to approach the Li Chu. So that is our presentation for today. Let's see if we have some questions in our Q&A. So if you want to submit questions, you can submit questions to our Facebook group, our Body Type Facebook group, or you can submit questions on our TikTok channel or YouTube channel or even Instagram, and I will cover them here on Jammin with Jiao Shi, which we do every 2 weeks. So I'm Jiao Shi, and I will see you all next time.